Hello and welcome to the BNP Paribas Asset Management Talking Heads podcast. Every week, Talking Heads will bring you in-depth insights and analysis through the lens of sustainability on the topics that really matter to investors. This week on the Talking Heads podcast, we're going to be talking about biodiversity with Robert Alexandre Poujade, who is Biodiversity Lead within the Sustainability Centre. Welcome, Robert Alexandre, and thanks for joining me.
Hi, Andy. Great to be here.
Now, we're talking in the wake of the 16th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity, also known as COP16, that was held in Cali, Colombia, in the second half of October. Can you talk us through what do you see as the key takeaways from COP16 for investors?
Maybe I can take a step back to previous COP, because since the adoption of the Global Biodiversity Framework at COP15 in Montreal in 2022, we've seen an increase in awareness of the potential economic implication of biodiversity loss. That's among governments, businesses, NGOs. So just to give you a flavor of what biodiversity loss means for businesses, for investors, the World Bank recently said in a study that in a worst-case scenario, if you have a partial ecosystem collapse, Malaysia could experience a 6% GDP annual loss by 2030, to give you the magnitude of impacts we're discussing here. This year at COP16, there was lots of engagement that emphasized the importance to reduce the drivers on biodiversity loss, land use change, overfishing, but also to increase the financial resources to conservation, restoration, sustainable use of biodiversity. Two important outcomes that really link well to our view that carbon, biodiversity, and social dimensions should always be taken together. That's the better recognition of the role of indigenous people and local communities as nature stewards. That's more alignment between biodiversity and social dimensions.
Can you talk a little bit about how we at BNP Paribas Asset Management are taking biodiversity loss into account in our portfolio management? Where do we stand on addressing biodiversity loss?
We've been working on that for several years. In 2021, we launched the Biodiversity Roadmap, and we had two main objectives. We acknowledge that many of the scientific studies demonstrate that biodiversity loss is a source of physical risk, systemic risk. For the global economies, there is this question of returns for our portfolios that we manage for our clients. So that was the first objective. The second one is being grounded in scientific evidence that really showed how much urgent the biodiversity loss crisis is important. What we said is that we had the global sustainability strategy to embed biodiversity in all 6 pillars of the investment policy. That was to create engagement and awareness that we need to act now on biodiversity where we can. So we adopted a target on water to improve the water efficiency of our investment portfolio as the target to protect forests. The other aim was to improve our disclosure. In 2021, disclosure is not great from corporates. We need to show the way and try to be vocal to our clients and stakeholders. We collaborated with NGOs and think tanks to publish case studies and, of course, to educate our workforce, not just the investment team.
You've been working on updating the roadmap. Can you talk to us a bit about how the updated roadmap helps to address biodiversity loss?
Yes, 3 years after the launch. The time was there to report back to our clients, to our stakeholders on our progress. And of course, considering next steps, how we move forward on our key priority areas. I can name a few. So we have a policy that basically looks at if we're involved in companies that are involved in the trading of protected species, in industrial fishing in the high seas, or in severe environmental pollution. This is really not the companies we are looking for. We have screening requirements. For example, we will not invest in companies with oil and gas reserves in the Amazon, as well as the ones who are active at developing infrastructure in these areas. There's also the question of our partners. Who are our trusted partners? Who we work and collaborate with? For example, we've worked with Planet Tracker to launch an internal ocean sectors framework for our investment team. We also partner with Naturalis, the Dutch Biodiversity Center, to explore biodiversity measurement via remote sensing, drones, camera trap, or other available technology We have been very vocal in the update of the roadmap to say what type of data we use, which data provider. I was mentioning a mandatory disclosure in France. Here we use Iceberg Data Lab, which is a French fintech company. The update is really to say, how do we live up to our commitments, providing concrete examples, all the metrics.
Let's just talk about what comes next. What do you see as being the next stage in this fight to tackle biodiversity loss? And how do you anticipate, what will BNP Paribas Asset Management's contribution be?
Main priorities are equipping investment teams with the best biodiversity decision-making, really to provide them the data that matters most to them, given their sector, asset class, or geographical focus. Other priorities are doing deep dives, providing research papers. We've also asked data providers to provide better data points to the investment community. Plastic and chemicals are also important sectors that span across our three main areas of work: carbon, biodiversity, and social dimensions. And finally, education, continuing to educate our clients, our workforce about biodiversity loss, engaging corporates so that they improve what they do and they meet our investor expectations as part of Nature Action 100. So that's really the core focus.
Well, thank you. That's a very comprehensive review of what we're doing, and we look forward to hearing about how it progresses in the future. Robert Alexandre, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Andy. A pleasure.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Talking Heads. If you'd like more information about policies on biodiversity or sustainable investing in general, please reach out to your BNP Paribas Asset Management contact or check out Viewpoint, our website for investment insights at viewpoint.bnpparibas-am.com. You've been listening to the BNP Paribas Asset Management Talking Heads podcast with me, Andy Craig, and Robert Alexandre Poujade, Biodiversity Lead within our Sustainability Centre. Please do join us again next week. Until then, take care.
This presentation includes a discussion on current market events and is not intended as investment advice or an offer of products or services by BNP Paribas Asset Management. Please keep in mind that the information and analysis in this presentation is only current as of the publication date.